Yesterday I binged Mayoi Neko Overrun, or Stray Cats Overrun. It's by AIC, one of my favorite studios, and it's by the author Tomohiro Matsu. So basically, I watched last year Listen to Me Girls, I Am Your Father, by an author named Tomohiro Matsu, who is passed away now, sadly. But I really enjoyed that show. And he's made 4 other series, Marchin Matchin, Hatena Illusion, and Mayoi Neko Overrun. And I was quite optimistic because I thought, I've watched this amazing show by him, I want to check out his other works. And so, one by one I did, by Marchin Matchin, Hatena Illusion, and finally Stray Cats Overrun. And I wasn't too keen on Marchin Matchin and Hatena Illusion. I thought the ending of Hatena Illusion was terrible because the story was unfinished and they had to throw together an ending and it was really rushed and awful. But Stray Cats Overrun has to be one of the biggest disappointments for an author I was really optimistic about. So the show is about a cafe called Stray Cats, and the main character sort of runs this cafe. And one day they end up picking what they call a stray. So one day the cafe's owner finds this girl called Nozomi, and she's essentially a stray because she's like a runaway. And so they end up taking her in, and she ends up seeing that she has people around her that she really likes, she's fond of, and she has a place she feels like she can call home. And the beginning is really, really wholesome, This girl who had left the place she was at and had nowhere really to go. She's found friends and comfort in this cafe, patisserie. And the beginning is really, really wholesome. But then, the sad thing is that this show does what I see as the red flag of like most shows. It almost baits you. It baits you and starts off with like, a really wholesome, lovely beginning, giving the viewer this idea that, there's gonna be some really wholesome moments, emotional developments, a bit of drama and stuff. But from the 4th episode onwards, they just go to random comedy, slice of life nonsense. And that is like the biggest red flag that you can have in a show. When a show starts off strong, and then it goes and does all this slice of life comedy nonsense. Like, an absurd stuff that just doesn't make sense. Like a Hot Springs episode where the males try to peep and then they're launched away and they get stranded in a forest. And there's like this really weird as well ping pong scene where there's just like silence and a back and forth for ages. And then there's even like a Super Sentai parody episode. Like out of nowhere, the episode just starts and the entire episode is just like a mecha Super Sentai parody. And I was just like, what is this? What is going on? Like, and I was just like, out at that point, if a show has like, a 12 or 13 episode show has 3 or more bad episodes, even one bad episode, it can let the whole show down. And so sadly, the comedy wasn't even that, like, it's just random comedy that I really don't like, You take a serious story, and all of a sudden you just start doing random slice of life stuff, without properly explaining it or anything. I would have preferred it, the Stray Cats end up becoming a club, yeah? But I would have preferred it if they did, like, actual club activities and things, rather than just, like, random nonsense and shenanigans. And I really didn't like it. It sort of kind of comes together in the end a little tiny bit, but even then it doesn't really rule that much. Like, there's even the ending arc is literally a sports festival where they're arguing whether tights are better or bloomers are better to wear during like the 3-legged race that they're going to hold. And the entire show is just a disappointment, especially since I was so optimistic about it. And I was looking forward to it a lot. I thought that I was really going to enjoy it. But sadly, like the idea at the beginning was really good. Like, you got a cafe, the cafe setting. You've got, these girls that have an interest in the main character. Like, there was some good comedy at the beginning too. Like the tsundere beating everyone up. I think my favorite moment is when the new girl, but the girl Nozomi, it's called Stray Cat because she says meow and nya and sort of acts like a bit of a cat or a neko. And basically, one of my favorite comedic scenes is where she just steps out the shower and all the boys are looking, and the tsundere girl, she has basically, you know, those long lights that you change with, right? And then she just spins the light when she sees them, right? Looking at her naked, she grabs the long light and she like spins it like one of those staffs. You just like, don't look, bam, and just like knocks them all out on the floor. And then when the owner of the patisserie comes back, it's just like, oh, you guys are all here, and the main character's just on the floor. She's like, yes, we're here, just all like beaten up. And yeah, and there was also an episode where they play Jenga, but each Jenga block has like a forfeit on, like they have to wear an outfit or do something. And I thought that episode was very creative, very cool. And yeah, it's a disappointment because I really like the author Tomohiro Matsuo. I did like him and his work. I really like AIC. They're one of my favorite studios, and they've basically failed to disappoint me with all of their shows except for like one, which was well, that one. It was a show I watched earlier this year. I forget the name of it, but yeah. They've done lots of great shows like Blessing of the Campanella, Love, Chocolate and Election, Kotora-san, Haganai, and I just found this show to be a real letdown, a real disappointment. But I did like the animation in the show, you know. AIC has a really unique style of animation and like character designs that I really like. But other than that, I would not recommend Stray Cats Overrun. It's another show that has a strong start, but then it's drowned in random comedy. And that's the one thing I really dislike, random comedy, when they have a strong beginning with like a serious plot, and then all of a sudden they just start doing random stuff. Like all of a sudden it's like one day, let's say one day the episode is they're fighting a demon lord, and the very next day they're like on a beach playing board games. Like, does that make any sense? You know, it just doesn't. I don't like that. You know, if you're gonna do a comedy, either do comedy all the way or don't do comedy.